this is kind of the boring stuff, but it is the very necessary stuff to set up your session right. Make sure that we have everything aligned. It's all labeled. It's all set up the way we want it to be set up before we get into any sort of editing, tuning, mixing, ranging, whatever. We need to get everything very, very clear, concise. And this is going to speed up your process overall. Just believe me. Been doing this for 25 years. I've screwed up a lot of projects. Let's get into Pro Tools and let's show you how to now import these audio files and how I start to arrange them. The dry vocals versus the wet affected vocals, etc. So here in Pro Tools, I've opened up a template that I typically use for trap, R&B, hip hop, anything that's going to be sort of bass heavy, drum, basically anything modern pop, whatever. So you can see that I have a master bus, master augs, all drums. I have my buses, my sends, all that stuff. And a good template should have everything bypassed at first. That's just the way I think about it. Like all your plugins should just be bypassed. Just make them inactive so you can use them if you need to. You'll turn on things as you want to. And then I also see there's some little things up here that I can get rid of. Some just like weird little hangout things that came from a different session as I build my template over time. Okay, so now let's import these audio files from the Logic export. The first audio files I'm going to import are going to be the dry vocals. And you can do this one of two ways. You can probably do this multiple ways. In audio, in engineering, producing, whatever, there's always multiple ways to do something, okay? So as I do this tutorial in these master classes, I just want you to know that there's always going to be other ways. So if you do it a certain way, fine. Do it your way. I don't care. Okay, I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay, so Christian Castro, going back in, dry vocals. I'm going to grab all these vocal stems. I'm just going to drag them right into Pro Tools, bar one, beat one. And what that's going to do is it's just going to drop these in. It's going to build the waveform view. And we'll give it a second. And usually I like to organize my vocals by when they come in. So this being like the first vocal that comes in, I'll drag this up to the top, right? And I'll just sort of organize these just a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I want to get them kind of in a sense. All right, so I'm gonna zoom out, and I'm just going to kind of like give a little overview of this, so I can see the Spanish intro here, and then I see ad libs. All this stuff kind of comes in at first. So let's just drag this up here, and just start to organize things just a little bit. Now, another thing I want to do is, that's plenty of organizing for now. The whole point is, what I want is the audio to come in, and then the next audio to come in, the next audio to come in, and I'll organize these as we go. But the next thing that I want to do is color these dry vocals, right? And typically for vocals, I'm going to use this hot pink color, okay? So for the dry vocals, I'm just going to grab all of them. You can use the hand selector tool. You can hold down shift and semicolon and just bam, it's going to just select all those files. Then we want to hit option C. I'm sorry, it's not option C. Let's go to our color palette. I'm thinking in Logic terms. Color palette here, and we're going to just color these all one color. It doesn't matter what they are colored, just make sure that it's different from the template. So I have like a red, a green, an orangey, brown, red, hot pink, let's try to go something, maybe some hot green or neon green, right? So that'll be good. It'll be kind of a differentiator. And then if you want to color the actual track, you have to go in and click on the track header. So here, right? And you can double click there, and then we can do this, and we can go green there. So that matches it. Okay, so now these are all the dry vocal stems. Let's make sure that we have also, let's go in and make sure that they're routed through the vocal mix bus in this template. So that's really important for you to start your mix. You want to make sure everything's routed the right way. So what we'll do is we'll hold down option shift, and that's going to be due to selected. And we're going to go to bus, and we're going to just take this out, the vocal mix bus. Okay. Now we should be able to hear these. They'd probably be loud. Let's check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not loud at all, because all the plugins, of course, are bypassed on all of the template. Now we got those going through the right thing. Let's make sure we are indeed starting at bar one, beat one. That's a really big deal. When you export out of Logic, sometimes you get a little bit of a pre-bounce sort of thing. So let's make sure that these are kind of on. I'm just like looking at the waveforms here and make sure that we're pretty much on the bars and beats. And then also I like to switch my grid view to be like eighth notes is good for rap music, trap, hip hop, stuff like that. Even 16ths if you want to get a little more fine, but I think eighth notes is going to work great for this. And I'm going to take this to the grid mode. And now I can kind of see where things come in and out, right? Like I can see the bars and beats. Maybe most important part is let's make sure that we put our meter, our tempo in, because this just looks crazy right now, right? It's not really locked on a grid because the tempo's not right. Let's go back to the Finder, and a really cool trick I use to just be able to see what the BPM is if you just hit spacebar, you can preview, and you can see up there that it's 94 BPM. If I expand that out a little more, you can see 94. So now I'll pop 94 into my tempo here, and now we should be a lot more locked in on a grid. So now we can actually see the grid, where things are coming in and out. To zoom in and out like that, I'm using R and T. The keys R and T, right? Zoom out, zoom in, R out, T in, and you have to have this A to Z focus on to be able to use those zooming tools, okay, in Pro Tools. So now we can see like where these are landing on a grid. Let's go a little bit more defined on the grid and make sure that we're in the right spot. It feels like it's a little off, but as we bring in the other stems, we'll find out, okay? So here's this reverse. Let's bring this up. I'm just doing some organizing. This is kind of boring, but you know, big part of making records is knowing where you're at all times. So I'm just going to go through this process really quick and make sure that my stuff is lined up. I'm gonna grab these guys, bring these up here. And like I said, I want the vocals to come in, etc. Until you get to the like hooks and stuff, then you'll see like a repetitive, like here's the hook and then other things come in and then the hook happens again, etc. So just kind of get that kind of roughed in, you know. So just showing you some shortcuts as we go. Same thing here. If I go up to this point, you can see like there's some bleed here. Like some weird bleed and messy stuff. Zoom in on the waveform here to check that out. You can see how much better Pro Tools waveform view is, right? Like check this out. Look at that. Look at all that noise. That was not showing up in Logic like this. This was showing up really weird, right? So now this is awesome. It's looking really good. And we can solo it out and turn it up and check it out and just see what that sounds like. Because if it's noise, we want to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's just literally noise. So what I want to do here is, let's say you wanted to do this edit, just hit A and it's going to cut everything from the left, and then go up to the corner. You can fade in. If you want to not go by grid, you can hold down Command. That'll bypass the grid, all right? Just showing you a few little tools as we go. But that's not the end of the story. This is really just like getting the dry stems in. And remember, we do have those wet stems as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these these dry stems, and I'm just going to group them all. I don't even think I'll group them all. I'll actually just go in and I'll make sure that I know like the green is the dry stems, okay? And I can literally go in here and hide and make inactive to make sure that those dry stems are hidden and they're not showing up or playing. But I'm actually going to do that with the wet stems, and I'm going to use the wet stems as sort of a reference point. Like, oh, he was doing this thing or this delay in his vocal. I like that thing. Let's chase that and replace that, or, you know, do it better than he was doing, etc. So let's drag those wet affected vocals in. So let's go in here, grab all the wet vocals. Let's do this another way, just to show you another way to import audio files. You can go to File, you can go to Import and go to Audio, or you can use Shift Command I. So Shift, like I said, there's multiple ways to do one thing in any DAW. Shift Command I is going to import your audio files. It's going to bring up this dialog. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our bounces on the Christian Castro No That's Me folder, because that's where I put all the stems. And we're going to go to the affected vocals, and we're going to just Command A is going to select all. We're going to add, because we want it to read from that folder. If you want it to read from the audio files folder within the session, like this, for example, No That's Me, or in this Pro Tools session, you want to actually copy, okay? Now, the way that works, and I'm just going to show this to you really quick because this is very good for organization and for keeping everything in one folder so you don't mess everything up. Because I already dragged these in, it did not copy to the audio files folder, right? So this is CC, No That's Me Mix-PT. I'm reading up here on the name. So let's go to the Finder, and I'm going to show you where that's at. Okay. So let's go find the Pro Tools session for this. And you're going to see No That's Me. You're going to see CC No That's Me mix-pt.ptx. Now, when I made this, I made it from a template, but you see how messy this is. Now I have audio files folder in here, session file, backup, all that stuff. What I want to do is I want to just drag everything in. And this is just a shortcut for you guys, right? So let's go Command Shift I. Just follow along. Please follow along. Pay attention here. Go back to the bounces. We're going to go affected vocals. We're going to Command A. We're going to copy all. No, let's just add them. Let's just add all. We're going to add all these clips. They're going to import. And we are going to say open. And now these are going to come into the Pro Tools session. Okay, we're going to say new track. That's the destination. And session start. And you're going to see this is going to create all these tracks below the tracks I already have. Okay, so you can see it just dropped them right below those neon green ones, okay? Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that, first of all, we color all of these. So I can hold down Shift and go to the bottom and hand tool. And if you want to, let me see here. Yeah, if you have this, this guy on, link track and edit selection, it's going to link the track selection to the edit selection. If you turn that off, you can click on the track and it's not going to select the audio clip. Okay, you see how that works? So you do want that on. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab all these guys. I'm going to go from bridge 1 all the way down here, and I'm clicking on the track and holding down Shift. And when you have that link selection on, it's going to also grab all the clips. I'm going in depth with you guys. Hopefully you're getting a lot out of this. If you are, please drop a comment on this video. Let people know what you think about it. I hope it's really helping you guys. That's why I make these master classes. All right, so now let's color these. Let's go back to our window. Let's go to color palette. And let's just give this like a another neon color. Okay, so let's go yellow. Yellow's fine. And then same thing here. We're going to click on the actual tracks. And then we're going to select yellow. You can see like they're all multiple colors and everything, right? So we're going to go yellow. Now we know these are the affected tracks. I'm not going to go and organize these at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide and make inactive. And what that's going to do is it's going to put this in this bin over here. And you're going to see all these tracks hidden and made inactive. So if I click on this bridge and I know the yellow is my affected vocals, I can click on that. It'll open up, but it's not playing. It's not on. It's muted. You're not going to hear that bridge, that affected bridge. And it's also hidden. So that's it. That's kind of like the next step we're going to take here is we're just importing all the files. Remember, we took them all out the same vocal mix bus, right? Because we have our template together. So if we go down, we can see Vox mix, right, to that bus. So that's good. We're just routing them through the template. You can do the same thing with your files right now. You can bring in your files, route them through the template, go to the Vox mix bus, and let's start getting this organized, and we'll get into some editing in the next module.